Okay, continue with 3 minutes of Tehillim. So we are up to Perek Ayin Zayin, Psalm 77. The Perek, in a word, the theme of the chapter is about the long exile, asking Hashem to save us like He did, particularly in times in our history, particularly in the time of the Exodus from Egypt. Before we get into the Perek, I just want to share with you a beautiful teaching about raising children that are adopted or orphaned. The pasuk in this Perek Ayin Zayin pasuk Tezayin says, "Ga'alta bizroa amecha," you God have redeemed your people with your mighty arm. B'nei Yaakov v'Yosef, Selah, the children of Yaakov and Yosef. And ask the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Daf Yud Tes Amud Beis, what are you talking about? The children of Yisrael, or B'nei Yisrael, the children of Yisrael, are not raised by Yosef, they were raised by Yaakov. When we're referring to the people of Israel, we're talking about the tribes where they're not raised by Yosef. So the Gemara answers, no, they were, because Yosef Kilkel, Yosef supported, he gave sustenance to his brethren, his brothers, his nation when they came to Egypt, and they came during the times of the famine, and therefore Nikra al Shemo, therefore they're called B'nei Yosef. And that's and that's a very powerful thing to think about when you raise a family, when you feed them, and even if they're not your own. The Ramah writes that if in a shtar, this is a halach and choshim mishpat, of a father he doesn't talk about a mother writing a shtar, but if a father writes on a shtar that I am the so and so, the father of, and it's an adopted child, he says that's 100% kosher because that person raised that child even if they were not their own. It says here, Misha Megadol Yasom Besoch Beso, someone who raises an orphan, Kasav Alav Bishtar Banai, or Yasom Kasav Amigdalo, Avi Oimi, that this is let's say the child writes about his father or his mother in the shtar, in the document. It's not considered in any way forged because it is totally kosher, because it is actually the child's parent, halachically, in a certain sense, because they raised this child like their own. Now, going into the Perek, I mentioned that we're talking about Hashem saving the Jewish people at the time of the Exodus. So we mentioned the very last pasuk in the Perek. We say, "Nachisa katzona mecha," you led your people like sheep, beyond Moshe ve'Aharon. Now, there's like in the Medrash, Bamidbar Rabbah, there's like a ton of different acronyms based on the word Nachisa, that what Moshe and Aaron did. So just a few of them are Nisim, Chaim, Yam, Torah, right? Nun, Ches, Yud, Taf. Also there's Niflaos, Cheros, Yemincha, and Talui, Rosh, different acronyms that are put into this pasuk. All these miracles that the Jewish people experienced through the hands of a pair of Moshe and Aaron. Why was it important that we have a pair of leaders? I never heard of there's a CEO and then there's another CEO. Like usually there's one person who's the leader. Why do we have this? I guess you could have like a executive vice president. You could have these different roles. But why is it specifically Biyad, Moshe, Aaron? So many say this idea. I saw this most recently in the Lubavitcher Rebbe. But Moshe and Aaron represent two different paradigms of leadership. Moshe will start with. Moshe was emes. He was truth. He was the one, the sage on the stage, brought down the Torah. He was uncompromising. He had to give exact precision. Zeh Davar, exactly what Hashem told me is what I'm sharing with you. He was right. Moshe was like there was a fear, almost like a people were distant from him. She had to put a veil over his face. There was a certain level of yira. There was a palpable distance between him and the people. Whereas Aaron was the one who was the Rodef Shalom, Oev Shalom. He's bringing people together. He's making peace between individuals. He was the man of the people. And Klal Yisrael needs these two paradigms of leaders. Sometimes some have more some of one, and some have more of the other. But we need both of these types of leaders in order to for Klal Yisrael to flourish, because you need the people who sort of speak truth to power. This is what it's got to be. And they're not going to compromise, but you also need the Aarons of the world. You also need the people to say, listen, the people, they need a little bit more attention, they need a little more love, they need a little more understanding. And that was the power combination of Moshe and Aaron.